What's up YouTube, this is Ryan from AnnihilatorMTG here, and I'm back again with some more Modern. This week I wanted to play something nostalgic, so I threw together a Merfolk list. Outside of Grixis and a few other decks, Merfolk was an early favorite for me in Modern. I always loved its ability to swing in for huge damage and just be annoying enough to slow down our opponent's game plan. I've decided to build the deck out as blue-white instead of something like blue-green or mono-blue for a few reasons. First and foremost, being able to leverage Lurrus as a companion is incredibly enticing. Secondly, Unsettled Mariner is a massive asset to this type of list. We get to both protect ourselves and our creatures while having a shapeshifter body that can scale with our lords. Not to mention Aether Vial allows us to do some pretty funky stuff with this card at instant speed. This might be my favorite creature in the list. Finally, I've opted into running Path to Exile instead of the typical Dismember package. I think Dismember is fantastic and is way easier to cast from a mana perspective, but with that said, the Exile effect and virtual life gain from not having to pay Phyrexian mana is far too tempting for me to skip out on. I am a bit worried about our mana base not being able to generate white mana when we need it, but I guess we're gonna have to find out. While Merfolk used to be a go-to deck of mine, it has been quite a while since I've played it last, so I might be a little bit rusty. With that said, I expect to have a ton of fun with this build, so let's hop into the first match and see how it goes. Okay, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend, and this hand looks pretty good. We'll keep it. Let's get things started with a Cavern naming Merfolk, and then we'll cast the Biomancer. They play and crack a Bloodstained Mire, finding themselves a basic mountain, and then we see a Goblin Guide. They swing in for 2, revealing an Unsettled Mariner, and we're down to 18. Let's play a basic island, then I want to cast the Mariner just to give us a little bit of defense. We'll swing in for 1, taking them down to 18, and then we'll pass. So far, so good. They play another Bloodstained Mire, then they swing in for 2, we reveal a path, we'll let the damage through, that'll bring us down to 16. During their second main phase, they crack the Bloodstained Mire, finding themselves a Sacred Foundry, and then we see an Eidolon. Alright, that's kinda scary. We draw the path. I think at this point in the game, the best thing that we can do is commit to the race, so we're gonna cast the Master of the Pearl Trident, then swing in for 5. That'll bring them down to 10, and then we'll pass. They play an Arid Mesa into a Lightning Bolt, targeting our Master of the Pearl Trident. They pay an extra 1 mana, and they take 2 damage. Then they swing in for 4, we reveal an Aether Vial, and now we're down to 10. Well, this is going to make things a little complicated, I think. Let's swing in for 3, that'll take them down to 5. Then we're going to cast the Harbinger during our second main phase, targeting the Goblin Guide. This will prevent them from being able to cast many extra spells from here. They swing in for 2, let's block. And now really the only way they beat us is with triple burn spell. They cast Goblin Guide into Goblin Guide. We draw a Force of Negation. Let's put a counter on the Biomancer. Then I want to dump the path. I think we just hold back here. Sure, that should be fine. They crack their Arid Mesa for a basic mountain, then they cast a Swift Spear, they swing in with the team, we draw an island, then a Wanderwine Hub. I think we're supposed to block both goblins. They cast a Skullcrack into the Unsettled Mariner trigger, we go down to 6, we draw another Silvergill, let's cast it, we find a Spreading Seas, alright. Think we're just going to play the Lord though. They play a tapped Inspiring Vantage, then they swing in, let's double block, they cast a Searing Blaze, let's respond to it with a Force, and then we trade, nice. Alright, let's see what we draw. We find a Spreading Seas, sure. Let's cast it targeting the Sacred Foundry. We draw a path, beautiful. Then we'll cast the Aether Vial, swinging in for 2 with the Lord of Atlantis. That brings them down to 2. They cast a Lava Spike. That takes us down to 2, and it looks like they're passing. Then during our upkeep, they cast a Lightning Helix. Let's crack the Fiery Islet, and we find a Force of Negation. You've got to be kidding me. Well, let's counter. Then we uptick the Vial, and are we good to go? No way. We swing in for 2, and that takes him down to 0. Nice. So in this matchup, I'm not entirely sure we need to change all that much. What we're gonna do is cut the Biomancers for copies of Deprive, and I think we're even gonna put the Lurrus in the main board, just so we have a little bit more speed. Yeah, that should be fine. So this hand looks incredibly risky, but if we can draw ourselves a land or 2, we're gonna be in a phenomenal position. They get things started with an Inspiring Vantage into a Mishra's Bauble. They crack that immediately, and then they suspend a Rift Bolt. During our upkeep, they get to draw off the Bauble, and we draw an island, nice. Let's cast the Vial, and then we're gonna hard pass. Their Rift Bolt comes off a suspend and takes us down to 17. They play a Sunbait Canyon into an Eidolon, sure, it's kind of annoying. Either way, let's uptick the Vial. Let's get things rolling with a Silvergill Adept, revealing a Trickster. We draw the Lurrus, very nice. and I guess we're just gonna pass. They play an untapped Sacred Foundry, then they put the Lurrus in hand, and they pass. We draw another island, activate the Vial at sorcery speed, then we're gonna jam the Trickster. Let's cast the Spreading Seas, targeting their Horizon lands, then we'll swing in with a Silvergill, and we'll pass. Things are going pretty well. They immediately move into combat. I don't think we care about this. That takes us down to 13, and they just pass. Wow. I think we're just going to keep the Vial at 2 for now. Let's play an island. We're just going to activate the Vial. We'll jam the Master. Then we're going to swing in for 6. Before damage, they cast a Lightning Bolt. Let's respond with a Force. Then they cast a Path. Let's grab an island, and we take them down to 6. Once again, it looks like they're holding back. Let's keep the Vial at 2. We draw Horizon Land. Let's play and crack it. We find another Mariner. So I think at this point, we're just going to animate the Mutavault, then swing in. They block the Mutavault. Then they go down to 2. They cast a Lightning Helix on the Trickster. Sure. Then we see a Mishra's Bauble. They crack that immediately, targeting us. We finally see them cast the Lurrus. Then they replay the Bauble. They crack it once again. During their end step, we're going to flash out the Mariner. Then they get to draw 2. We'll keep the Vial at 2. And we draw Wanderwine Hub. Fabulous. Let's path their Lurrus. That gets exiled. Then we're going to swing in for 4. And I think we have this locked up. They play an Arid Mesa into a Goblin Guide. They choose not to attack. During their end step, we're going to activate the Vial, jamming another Mariner. Let's see if they can get there. We essentially have what equates to a one-sided Trinisphere on the board. Let's uptick the Vial. Then we draw Force. Excellent. Think we're going to do another sorcery speed activation. We jam the Lurrus. Then we're going to cast the Trickster. They respond with a Path. Let's force it. And they scoop it up. GG's. Okay, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend. And we won the die roll. Well, it looks like we're playing against a Yorion deck. This hand looks pretty good. Let's get things rolling with a basic island into an Aether Vial. They play a snow-covered plains and not much else, no problem. We'll uptick the Vial, drawing a Force. Let's play the Cavern, naming Merfolk. I think the correct thing to do here is to just cast the Lord, then pass. Next up, we see a Field of Ruin into a Thalia. That's not too bad. We draw Mutavault. Let's play Lord of Atlantis number 2. Then we'll swing in, and I think we're at a good pace. They play a Tectonic Edge, then they cast an Archon. During their end step, we're going to activate the Vial and jam the Trickster. I guess we'll just tap the Archon. Let's keep the Vial at 2. I do believe it's time to get aggressive. Animate the Mutavault, then we'll swing in with a team. That takes them down to 3, and they scoop it up. Nice. So I think in this matchup, I want to trim on 1 or 2 copies of Force of Negation for 2 copies of Echoing Truth. And outside of that, I don't think we want to change anything. I could be very wrong, but I think Double Vial has a ton of potential against their deck, so I think we're going to keep. They lead off with a Snow-Covered Plains into a Vial. We draw another Lord. Let's play a Fiery Islet and then a Vial of our own. They uptick their Vial, then they play another Plains. Here comes a Charming Prince. They get to scry 2. Then we draw Seachrome Coast. Let's play it, and then we'll cast Vial number 2. We've got a good amount of setup here, which is pretty nice. They play a Field of Ruin, and then they swing in for 2. During their second main phase, they cast an Elite Spellbinder. They take our Mariner. That's annoying, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. We uptick our Vials, drawing another Seachrome Coast. Let's cast a Silvergill. We find another Mariner. Excellent. They choose not to activate their Vial. Then we see a Ghost Quarter. They swing in with a team. That brings us down to 12. During their end step, they activate the Vial, jamming out a Flicker Wisp. Let's respond by tapping the Vial and casting a Lord. No problem. During our upkeep, they flash out a Resto Angel, targeting the Spellbinder. They take a Lord. Let's cast a Master of the Pearl Trident. Then I think we're just going to swing in with a Silvergill Adept. That brings them down to 16. During our end step, we get the Vial back from the Flicker Wisp. Not bad. Not bad at all. They move in for combat, swing in with the Flyers. They put the Yorion into hand. During their end step, we're going to activate the Vial. They path a Lord. Let's grab an island. We'll jam out the Mariner. We draw Mutavault. And I'm pretty sure we just lose this one, so I'm going to scoop it up. I don't think we really need to change all that much in the sideboard, so we'll resubmit. This hand is not very good. Gonna have to ship that one back. This is better. I think we ditch the Islet. Let's lead off with a Seachrome Coast into a Biomancer. They play a Snow-Covered Plains. Not bad. We draw Path. Let's play a Mutavault, then we're going to cast a Silvergill Adept. revealing a Harbinger, and drawing a Master of the Pearl Trident. Excellent. Let's swing in for 1, and then we'll pass. They play another Snow-Covered Plains into a Charming Prince. It's not that big of a deal. We draw a Lord. We're going to get aggressive, so we'll swing in with a team, and that takes him down to 14. Nice. Right on time, they play their 3rd Plains. Then we see a Leonin Arbiter. They swing in with a Charming Prince. That brings us down to 18, and that appears to be it. Since we didn't draw land, I think we're going to activate the Biomancer. Beautiful. Let's ship the Harbinger. Then we play the Islet, jam the Master. With our gigantic board, we're going to swing in. They block with a Leonin Arbiter, but then isolate the same target. That's a bit weird. Well, either way, we got them down to 7. We see Snow-Covered Plains number 4. They choose not to attack, and let's see what happens. Let's cast another Master, then we'll animate the Mutavault. We swing in with the team. They flash out a Restoration Angel, targeting the Charming Prince. They gain some life. Then they block accordingly. Both the Prince and the Arbiter die. That takes them down to 1, and I'm not entirely sure how they get out of this. They start things off with a castle, then they swing in with a Resto. Looks like we're going to see a Flicker Wisp. They exile the Angel. It comes back, and the new Flicker Wisp exiles the Master. Well, let's see what happens. Let's attempt to path the Resto Angel, and they scoop it up. GG's. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend. And this hand is really bad. We'll mulligan. This is probably keepable. Let's ship the Wanderwine Hub. We're going to lead off with a Seachrome Coast, and then we'll pass. They play an untapped Blood Crypt into a Thoughtseize. They're probably going to take the Mariner. They do. We unfortunately draw another land. Let's play it. They cast another Thoughtseize, taking the path. That brings them down to 14, and it looks like they're passing. We draw an Aether Vial. Let's jam it. We see a Mishra's Bauble from our opponent, and not much else. Think we can deal with this. They draw off the Bauble. We draw Spreading Seas. Excellent. We'll cast it. Their Blood Crypt is now an island, and we find a Merfolk Trickster. Unfortunately for us, it looks like they're playing Grixis as they cast a Thought Scour. Make that 2, and they're still stuck on 1 land. Alright. During the end step, we're going to crack an Islet. We find a Silvergill, and they discard a Stubborn Denial. Let's cast it. Then we find a Mariner. Alright, things are looking up. They finally found another land. They play a Polluted Delta. During their end step, we're going to activate the Vial, jamming the Master. We see another one. Let's cast it. Then we're going to swing in. They crack the Polluted Delta. Let's respond by activating the Vial. We'll jam the Mariner. They cast a Fatal Push targeting a Master. Sure. That takes them down to 10. I feel like we're in a pretty good position. They cast a Blood Chief's Thirst. Let's force it. And it looks like they scoop it up. Nice. So I think in this matchup, we're going to cut the Spreading Seas for 2 copies of Deprive and 2 copies of Echoing Truth. Yeah, that looks good. We'll submit. So this hand is definitely land heavy, but we don't really want to mulligan too much against Thoughtseize. They get things started with a Mishra's Bauble. They crack that immediately, targeting themselves. Then we see a Watery Grave. That comes in untapped, and there's another Mishra's Bauble. They crack that, targeting us, and we draw another land. Jeez. Well, let's play a Seachrome Coast, then we'll jam the Biomancer. They play an Overgrown Tomb into a Tarmogoyf. Sure, that's a 1-2. We draw a Master. Let's play the Seachrome Coast, then we're going to jam it. We'll swing in for 2. That'll bring them down to 14, and we'll pass. They cast a Thoughtseize, taking the Harbinger. Then they swing in for 3. That'll bring us down to 17. They cast a Shadow, and then they pass. We draw Biomancer, let's cast him, then we'll swing in for 4. They block with a Shadow. That takes them down to 10. Looks like they're just attacking with a Goyf. That'll bring us down to 14. They follow that up with the Scourge. Okay. I think during the end step, we're going to jam the Trickster and tap their Shadow. We draw a Cavern. Let's play an island. Then we're going to activate the Biomancer, and we draw a Path. Nice. Let's cast it, and they scoop it up. GG's. Okay, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friends, and this hand seems pretty good. They get things started with a tapped Overgrown Tomb. We draw Master. Let's play a basic island, then we'll ship it back. We see a Snow-Covered Forest into a Heartless Summoning. I think we force that, and we're good to go. We draw Mariner. Let's play a Cavern into the Spreading Seas, targeting their Overgrown Tomb. We draw another Silvergill, and I guess we just pass. We see a Snow-Covered Swamp into a Steve. That's weird. We find yet another Mariner. Think we're going to cast Silvergill, revealing a Silvergill, and we find an Aether Vial. That's kind of underwhelming. I'm hoping that our opponent doesn't just blow us out here. During our end step, they crack the Steve and find themselves another forest. They cast a Chalice on 2. Alright. That's not as good as they think it is. Let's get things started with an Aether Vial. Then we're going to play an Uncounterable Mariner. So unless they do something about this cavern, they're going to be in a very bad position. They crack their fetch, finding themselves a Blood Crypt. Let's swing in for 2. That'll take them down to 17, and I guess we'll just pass. Our opponent seems to be flooding out big time. They put their companion into their hand, and that seems to be it. Let's uptick the Vial. We find a Lord of Atlantis. I think we just want to play the second Mariner to be extra defensive. Then we'll swing in for 4. That takes them down to 13. During our end step, they crack the fetch and find themselves an Overgrown Tomb. Here comes a Gemstone Caverns. They cast their companion. They get a free Primeval Titan, getting a castle and a blast zone. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure we have this one. Let's start off with a Lord of Atlantis. They can't counter that. Activate the Vial, jamming the Master. We'll swing in, and that'll do it. So in this matchup, I think we're going to trim on 2 copies of Path for 2 copies of Ceremonious Rejection. And honestly, outside of that, I don't think we need to do too much. We'll submit. Well, for what we're doing, this hand is pretty darn good. Once again, they get things started with an Overgrown Tomb. That'll come in tapped. We draw Lord. Let's play a Wanderwine Hub, revealing a Silvergill. They play a Snow-Covered Swamp into a Caryatid. Sure. We draw Mutavault. I could be mistaken, but I think we just play the island and pass. They play a fetch, then they put their companion into hand. That appears to be it. During their end step, we're going to flash out the Trickster. We draw Lord. Let's play the Mutavault. Then we're going to cast the Silvergill, revealing a Lord. We draw an Aether Vial. I think we just cast it. Then we'll swing in for 2. That'll take them down to 18. Then they crack their fetch, finding themselves an Overgrown Tomb. And let's see what you got. They play a Snow-Covered Mountain into a Madcap Experiment. Nice. They pass. I think we're just going to sorcery speed Path the Empyrean. Then we'll animate the Mutavault and swing in with a team. That takes them down to 13. They play and crack a fetch, finding themselves a basic mountain. And then they cast an Inferno Titan. Oh boy. Well, there goes our board. I think really the only thing we can do here is just hope to get running Tricksters, so we're just going to play the Lord of Atlantis. They cast their companion. They find another one. They get a second trigger. They find yet another one, getting themselves a third trigger. And they steal a Silvergill. Very unfortunate. They begin combat. Let's activate the Vial. We'll jam the Trickster. Let's tap down the Inferno Titan. We draw Silvergill. I think we're forced to play it. Then we draw Spreading Seas. Sure. We find an island. Let's play another Lord. We swing in. That takes him down to 5. And I guess we'll just pass. They Madcap Experiment again, but they only find a Spyglass. They name the Vial. Wait, do they just lose? Yeah, they do. No way. And it looks like they scoop it up. GG's. And there you have it. Merfolk is certainly a special deck. In terms of the main game plan, it actually feels pretty darn strong. Unfortunately, things felt kind of flat in terms of our mana base. Path got stranded in our hand far too many times than is really acceptable, and it almost would have been better to run something like a Vapor Snag or Unsubstantiate if avoiding Phyrexian mana was our goal. My poor decision-making skills aside, this deck was a lot of fun. I apologize if my energy was a little low this week. I got my second shot of the old healing salve, so I haven't been feeling 100%. Either way, if you like this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It really does help, so thank you. And as always, stay safe out there and have a good one.